we were arriving by plane into Puerto Inirida, we had a bird's eye view of the whitewater Rio Guaviare near its confluence of the Rio Inirida, and we all noticed a large blackwater oxbow lake very near the river. This is Lago Macasabe. After spending a day and a night on the Rio Atabapo, we decided to make this lake our goal for the day. Seems easy enough. Ted's Fish Room presents Colombia 2016, sponsored by Amazonas Magazine, REPASHY Superfoods, and SwissTropicals.com. Our first stop after leaving the beach on the Rio Atabapo is an overlook at the confluence with the mighty Rio Orinoco, where we are reminded that December is way too early to come to this part of Colombia if the goal is to fish in the main rivers. In a few months, the water flow will be half what it is today, and this scene will look totally different. Next season, we will come in February or March. Our plan for the day is to work our way upstream from the main river back towards Puerto Inirida and make some stops in some of the larger creeks where the water should be shallow enough to collect. This plan is easier said than done because without detailed maps it is hard to know how far into the surrounding forest a small creek will go, or if it will flood a relatively flat area where the water can spread out and create habitat for the small ornamental fish we are looking for. This is trial and error, but the wrong kind of error can be very costly. The water in these creeks is not very clear, and there are a lot of logs under the surface that we cannot easily see that could damage the motor on our large riverboat. All we can do is go slowly until we reach an obstruction we cannot get around. When this happens, we turn around and look for a better creek. A good canoe will have a deep enough channel to let us travel well away from the river and into an area that has a wide, shallow floodplain. This habitat is spectacular. There is a lot of wildlife to see, mostly birds, but some other animals as well, such as this four-toed sloth. The channels in these flooded forests are like a maze, and it seems easy to get turned around and lose our way. When in doubt, watch the current, which is always headed back out to the river. This is spectacular habitat for small tetras and dwarf cichlids, but the problem here is the same as we experienced in the Rio Atabapo. The high water has allowed the fish to spread out so much that the fish density is very low, making them hard to collect. There are probably thousands of fish here, but they are not cooperating for the camera. And as soon as I enter the water, they move away from me very quickly and move a long way. This plan is not working. It is a beautiful place and a great experience to see and learn about, but the fishing is poor and it is time to continue on to try to reach Lago Macasabe. Amazonas, the world's favorite aquarium magazine. Amazonas is one of the world's legendary tropical fish publications, read by tens of thousands of enthusiasts who are passionate about keeping fascinating and thriving freshwater aquariums. Every issue brings rare fish husbandry and breeding, world-class aquarium systems, freshwater aquarium advice, and thought-provoking news and much, much more. Stay inspired, stay informed, and stay connected to the world's most passionate aquarium keepers. Subscribe to the world's favorite aquarium magazine, Amazonas. REPASHY Superfoods combines superior nutrition and ingredient quality in a gel food that fish like to eat. From staple diets to specialty feeds, there is a REPASHY superfood formula that will benefit every fish in your aquarium. And the long-lasting gel allows fish to feed naturally on a food source that will stay in the water for many hours. REPASHY superfoods are available from dependable retailers that specialize in high-quality aquarium and reptile products. For more information, visit the REPASHY Superfood website at www.repashy.com. The Rio Inirida and Rio Atabapo are blackwater rivers with relatively clear water that is stained with tannin. The conductivity is very low and so is the pH. Black water is very nutrient poor, and even though there are a lot of fish, the number of fish and diversity of species is relatively poor compared to water that has a higher nutrient content. The Rio Guaviare is a whitewater river, has a high nutrient content, a much higher conductivity, and a higher pH, and therefore a lot more fish. But they are impossible to see without netting them because the water is not at all clear. To reach the Lago Macasabe, we must first locate the small entrance stream that runs into the Rio Guaviare from behind a large muddy bar on the side of the river. The water in the entrance is very shallow, but there is enough water this time of year for us to get the large riverboat through it, we hope. In a few months, when the dry season is in full stride, only dugout canoes are going to be able to get in and out of the lake. The natural canal into Lago Macasabe is about a mile long and very narrow. The water is not clear, so we must motor very slowly with Hernando sitting on the prow looking for submerged logs, which there are many. We barely scrape through in a few places. There is a community of people living on Lago Macasabe, and we meet a large dugout canoe full of them on its way out. The captain of the canoe and Hernando exchange some words, and we do not get the impression that the residents are very happy about us going to visit the lake. Oxbow lakes are usually a fish collector's dream because they are generally shallow, weedy, and have a lot of fish. Many species use oxbow lakes as nurseries, so there are usually juvenile specimens of larger fish from the main rivers. The habitat is also different enough from the river for there to be species that prefer the calmer water with a lot of plants. But Lago Macasabe is not a typical oxbow lake. It is huge. The edges are steep and the water is deep. You know that feeling you get when you are someplace that you can be, but maybe you should not be? That is how this lake feels. There is no doubt that the people we met on the way in were not very happy to see us. It turns out that the community of people on this lake do not have the same opinion of tourism that the other Colombians in the area do. And not so long ago, the people living here may have aligned themselves with insurgency groups. Since we could not find a shallow shoreline to use a seine against, we decided that we should leave this place. We know that there are some interesting fish here based on collection reports from years past, but we are not going to find those fish today. Time to make our retreat. We fulfilled our goal for the day of getting into Lago Macasabe, but from a fish collection perspective, this day was a bust. Since we are so close to Puerto Inirida, we decided to go spend the night back in the hotel instead of camping. Tomorrow is a new day. Tomorrow we start the search for one of our primary objectives to the trip. Tomorrow we head out to find Rio Inirida Ultim angelfish.
Yeah. That's the otters, right?
Don't miss an episode of Colombia 2016. Please subscribe to my channel and help spread the word by sharing this video with your friends. Thank you for watching Ted's Fish Room, and please check out my sponsors for this series, REPASHY Superfoods, SwissTropicals.com, and Amazonas Magazine.